Hey fam, welcome back to another episode of I'm Telling You.
I'm telling you.
As always, your amazing Antics Fields host, Philly D.
Mr. Gemini.
Quick clack a fact check in the JD.
Yeah, and if you want to reach out to us, you can hit us up at either ITY at directionsofmusic.org or individually. Do it.
GEMINI at directionsofmusic.org.
Yeah, Gemini at directionsofmusic.org or Philly D, PHILLYD.
Double L-Y.
Double L-Y. But first time listeners, this is a 30-year friendship of, I don't know, you and me trying to not be too schmucky.
Douchebaggy.
Too much douchebaggery.
Don't be a douchebag. Don't be a douche. That's my new sweatshirt idea. Don't be a douche.
Yeah, right.
So I was just saying, we got to design a logo. And
Add it to the list.
That logo will go on the back of the sweatshirt. And then on the front, it'll just say, don't be a douche. Like life, just like if there's one thing I could pass on.
It's like I would stupid, but instead it's like, don't be a douche.
Don't be a douche. And then just, I'm telling you, like a little dash. And then I'm telling you underneath that. That's it. And then the logo on the back. I think that's hot.
Yeah. So again, for first time listeners, this is exactly what you're in for.
This is it. We just jump right in.
Yeah. We also do dad jokes and movie quotes and music and
dad quotes,
stuff like that. Yeah. And dad quotes and dad
movie jokes.
Tonight we have a special guest in the studio with us. If you want to introduce yourself, my friend.
Yes, hello. My name is Evan Dublion. Thank you for having me. I don't know why I'm doing this voice here now, but it's quite fun. I like it.
I mean, I think it works for radio. It's a radio voice.
Sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, that's welcome to Thunderdome. That's pretty much what it is. You never know what you're going to get here, but it's going to be entertaining and educational.
It's like a box of chocolates.
Easy there, Forrest.
The real go-to for infotainment.
Yeah, no. So this is the great thing about this is the great thing about having a fact checker is because originally I had to kind of keep him corralled, but I don't really always know what I'm talking about either. So then we would just like wind up getting into this weird info loop of trying to figure stuff out while talking about it.
Isn't that right? I don't know.
As a matter of fact, pretty much. It was horrible.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then, Miss JD hops on and all of a sudden it's just like we can keep talking and she figures stuff out for us. It's nice.
Yeah.
And she tells us when we're wrong, which apparently is quite often.
Like, no, you did wrong.
I think it's good to be wrong.
We agree with that.
Opportunity.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's how you learn.
All right, exactly.
Yeah, dude, yeah, where's so we another thing we do here is beers.
Yeah.
Hey, I got an empty glass or what's the deal, yo? You gonna
Did you want to try
bro, I want to try your beer. You made it. I want to try it. I'm going to give you
I'm just saying because the other thing in there is you've already had that. That's not a
I don't
are we allowed to say that word?
The bragging.
Pardon me?
Excuse me, good sir. Yeah, no. It's like the Star Wars version with Family Guy where he's like, she calls him a nerf herder. He's like, you can't use that word. Only we can use that word. And then him and Brian are like, yeah, you're my nerf herder. And it's just like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever.
You use words?
Yeah, right. You guys remember when people used to read?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a running joke, but also an honest question. Because, people don't really read anymore. And if they do, it's like, social media. So it's taglines and quick.
Right.
Most don't really read the full articles. It's such a shame.
But the art of research seems to have been lost. Like just general research, it's all knee-jerk reaction.
Well, it's like
a lot of people take things at face value too, which is very misleading for the general public.
Right.
Well, right. And that's when I think, what is the idea when you're misleading the facts to prove your theory? So it's like you generalize your stuff or you promote it in that general sense because you're already biased because you think that's the outcome. And it's like, just because that's the picture you paint doesn't mean that's the actual picture.
Right.
A spade actually isn't a spade in this situation now. It's, it's a club or a puppy feet, whatever that shit is.
So this in front of you is a beer called a smash beer because there's a single malt and a single hop edition. The single malt is called Maris Otter. It's an English style of
Mary's daughter?
Barley. A Maris Otter.
Mary's Otter?
And a hop's called Fuggles. Fuggle.
Spell that, please.
Could you use it in a sentence?
Fugle. Fuggle.
Fugle.
It looks very, very bubbly. There's a lot of.
I gave it a decent amount of carbonation.
Okay,
For you listeners, it does look like the champagne of beers.
It does. Yeah, no, it does. It does have an effervescence like a champagne to it, like a bubble. I mean, this is.
It's not going to taste like a Pilsner, though. It shouldn't.
This dude, for people who can't watch this right now, 3 dudes smelling glasses.
This glass smells like beer.
And to answer your question, it's called a confirmation bias. It is a tendency to search for, interpret, favor, or recall information in a way that confirms or supports one prior belief or value.
Yeah, didn't our dude talk to us about that? He's so smart, isn't he? Like he knew that shit.
Confirmation bias.
Yeah. Like he pulled that out of his own head. Like what the he's like.
Well, that's why you have to tune into what the opposing side has to say.
Well, right, but I think the point, like, you have to be a watchdog for yourself then, because
who else is going to do it?
You're automatically going to gravitate towards an argument that is in favor of what you already believe. So it's like you're trying to create a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're trying to match only information that fits your theory.
Flat Earth.
Well, I mean, as I said, the best books you can read are the ones that agree with you.
See, and I like reading stuff where it really completely open. Like I read a lot of dry academia stuff where I'm reading like economic based things and how like foreign policy was structured and, you know, like the way things were put together to try to understand the system of what, you know, I guess capitalism is at this point, which has kind of globalized itself in a sense. So, you know, I had a heavy studying in business and psychology, and then the laws within that, and also abnormal psychology to try to really understand the individual, but also as a collective within the means of laws, rules, and constructs based around monetary decisions. Because that's pretty much what I feel this world seems to be. And it's like, if I'm going to do the best good I can, I really need to understand the game of Monopoly as I'm playing it in a sense. You know?
So where would you say we fail in economics? If you have anywhere to pinpoint.
You mean like if there was one thing to rectify that? So we've
exactly.
We've had this conversation before where it was just in a general sense, if there was anything in the world, one thing you could do, what would it be to make that? And I feel that one thing is always going to be with equal opportunity of education, where it's literally free available education. So this is like free Wi-Fi, free devices, you know, free full access to any and all knowledge, where any person at any point in the world can access, learn, and be involved and truly start to learn. Because it wouldn't just be in a scientific sense. So they wouldn't just be book knowledge per se, but you'd also have access to spiritual knowledge and everything else. I think if you have that individual who really wants to be truly educated, having all of that at his disposal, we really could stand a chance of having a much more efficient, truer sense of what positive, loving humanity is supposed to be.
I'm all for positive change, and I love the idea itself. But like my dad attacked me the last time I said, well, the world would be a better place if blank. Well, yeah, well, how do you police that? And I go, I see what you're getting at. Because now he says, well, you just make a law. It's like, no, that's the last thing we need is to write more laws. We have to create a system where we show appreciation of certain distinctive traits that are positive, you know, for the general public, that aren't just wasteful and damaging to the planet and the resources and the individuals. And
well, I think that this is my opinion. I think the biggest single change that can be made to economic policy or economics, Adam Smith economics, is
something DO.
Humanity. Humans.
Yeah.
The people that make and use all these goods.
Right.
We don't take into consideration the time, the labor, the human. What we do take into consideration is profit, availability,
return on investment,
ROIs.
Yeah, right. How to push it more, like how to market so I can make you want this more even without you knowing that you want it, kind of a thing.
No, I'm just worried about reducing overhead and maximizing profit. And
right.
And where does that get us?
Also convenience. Yeah.
Well, so that's why, okay, so
convenience or
going
death.
back to the whole education thing, the reason why I feel that would do it is because in order to offer all of those components to truly make free education, again, you're talking truly free Wi-Fi, truly free electronics and electricity and the means for all these things.
So within that, though, people could argue that own nothing and be happy because everything's free and available could be an example. So what I'm saying,
Well, it wouldn't be everything. It would be the stuff that was more or less to help like support the actual getting of free knowledge. So if you were like, hey, I want to be a student, cool, then you enroll in a program. You now have the ability to always have a device. You always have, access and internet and whatever else. In order to make these constructs happen in this means, we would have to modify a lot of our, different rules or regulations, as well as how we would support upcoming infrastructures to make for a better world to do that, because we would have to make electricity cheaper.
Okay, so
we would
let's
have to
look
make
at
it
this.
more accessible.
When we equate humanity into the engine that is production, what have you, consumerism, all these isms, education by default is mandatory if you take into consideration humanity.
Right.
You want an educated populace. An educated populace helps keep criminals and thugs out of the White House.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
To a degree, yeah, I get that.
What do we do? How do we get free
off
Wi-Fi?
the streets?
Wi-Fi
honestly.
needs to be a
right,
public
yeah.
service. It needs to be like water, electricity, Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
internet. I don't want to have to call my cable subscription to be able to access the internet.
Exactly, dude. Wi-Fi
Why
should
do they have authority over it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why Wi-Fi should just be a thing where it's like, yeah, it's a public commodity that everybody has free right to.
I would have to agree with that in a day and age where the government provides free smartphones to anybody who's below a certain. So I mean, it's
You're
a
right.
staple necessity at this point. Like
I agree. That's why I'm like, so in order to support that idea of like the one thing you would do, there's capillary components. So there's all these ancillary side pieces that would also have to be in place or done in a fashion that would benefit greatly as well.
So in a way, that's already there for a lot of people. Well, anyway, in America, but
I'm sure everywhere's got some form of welfare program that does that kind of stuff.
You have access to a smartphone, which is basically like having access to the Library of Alexandria.
In a sense, yeah, right.
Which burned down.
And
Twice.
And
Twice.
yeah.
Well, as soon as you can read, you can learn. As soon as you can open your eyes, you can learn. As soon as you can hear things, you can learn. As soon as you can touch, you can learn.
Well, I mean, that's what we're built off of. We're creatures of mimic and habit. We have to see it, and then that's how we can understand its perception. And we have to see that over and over until our brain builds that pathway to make that acknowledgement. When we interpret these actions, this is the reaction you get. I mean, that's all we really are.
I mean, how many original ideas are there? Very, very, very few. Because you're inspired from something. It's not that you're having an original idea to fly. Like, oh, I just watched 12,000 birds fly. Now I'm having an original idea.
Well, Tesla would say none of his ideas were original.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I
pulled
mean,
them from the
Einstein
ether.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they were lucid dreaming and pulling the knowledge that is available to all of us. It's just
Like
the fact that they were
truly
accessing it.
Open source software begins within the human brain.
Right, your aha moment is just going, oh.
It's just being a part of everything.
Oh, what do we call that now? The Akashic records, right?
Well, that's the system
Like
of knowledge.
The timeless stream of knowledge that's just above like normal human.
Or like it's
comprehension.
outside of perception of like dimension or time or space where it's like
Well, that's
it
where I
vibrates
go
on
when
that
I
frequency.
can't quite take a nap.
Yeah, it's that.
Well, but that's what
it's a
these-
timeless. Yeah,
lucid dreaming. I mean, you said I remember you telling me was Einstein used to sleep with his keys hanging in his hands, so that if he ever actually fell asleep and dropped his keys, it would wake him up because he didn't want to be asleep, but he
wanted
didn't
to
want to be
stay.
awake. He wanted to be in that lucid state of in between conscious and subconscious to try to obtain that exterior knowledge that's just there.
Right.
We're just not perceiving it with our current brains.
Right. I had a thought that is similar to that, and I was trying to decide what computer to buy. So I listened to Alan Watts talk some philosophy, and I was just looking at it as a consumer question, right? And I don't even remember what he said, but it washed over me in a way that I thought,
well, the words aren't important. Even he would say that.
right. So I had the realization that, like, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Why does that matter? Oh, I'm a vessel. Stars don't give a damn if they shine or don't shine. They just do. And I was like, okay, so just go ahead and keep on doing what you're doing.
Right.
Like, don't think about it too much. Just
I'm supposed to get
do
whatever
it.
I get.
Because I think a lot of the greater, especially like Taoists and stuff, coming from like Buddhist and Hindu and all that kind of things, where their practices is very much about, it's not the past, it's not the future. It's about living as much in the moment as you can, as pure and positive as you can. And all of that in time will always just be that good, pure, positive. So, all of time and everything, humanity will just evolve naturally because it's just, that's all you know and all you do, then that's all that's available for it. And eventually it should spread, or, when the time's right and when they're like,
Well, there's always a balance between light and dark, right? Like, no matter what we do, sometimes we're in.
Well, I mean, do you feel like humanity is hindered from gaining a further understanding? Do you think there's people out there that are maybe trying to keep some of this stuff hidden?
Well, see, I would say
Yeah.
just, but I mean, you're always going to have that. I think
look.
it's a greater sense of our physical vessels aren't able to perceive, or at least our understanding using these vessels. We've never created that pathway to understand those things outside of, standard 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional that we know in. So I think our limiting factor really is either our bodies itself, the way our brains work, or
Linear.
the fact that we've never actually been taught in this method, so we don't know how to do it. So our brain didn't, develop in that fashion.
Right.
Because
I would say this. One of the biggest key elements that holds back humans from development is our ability to endure. We can endure damn near anything. I mean,
Dude, right.
You carry
Some
bags
people
of
enjoy
rocks
that,
up
man.
from an abyss all day long and get, it's not even a sandwich, just dry bread at the end of the day. And you'll do it again tomorrow.
See you
So
tomorrow,
there's that.
Earl.
And then
Thinking the
are there
Egyptian
keepers of knowledge? Yes, there are keepers of knowledge. What knowledge is that? Well, it depends. But if you look at the catacombs of the Vatican, okay, no one's allowed down there. And if you do want to go down there, you have to know what exists before you can see it. Like, to check a book out, you have to know the book exists down there on your application.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so how are you supposed to know that?
Yeah,
Can't even
right.
get to the first step, figuring out
Right,
that it
yeah.
even exists.
I got this ancient parchment that told me this book exists. And I happen to know that it's in row 25, section B.
Yeah, right.
Row
Dude, that'd be so...
859.
in the underground city of the dead.
I would
Not
like to
far
see
from the
the...
Sepulveda.
I would like to see the research on that.
Septer.
Dude.
Well, I also wonder if some of this goes to, they say you only access like 10% of your brain, and things that we've been watching and discussing prior about, like,
I think that's a bit of a
You have-
misnomer, though.
I would agree to that at this point.
well,
Is it
I'm saying you have to have the
Yeah, yeah.
ability to like open certain areas of your mind, but it also goes with like certain generational oppression. So like if you're told that you can't do something, you're not going to, like, if you're told that from childhood up, you're going to be stunt yourself to not reach for that or whatever. And then there's going to be the few that are able to access certain parts of their brain. And they're like, well, why can't I do that? And they're going to push further and strive for that. But it's like, I think it's like a 50-50 where you can't access certain parts of your brain or memories or whatever. And then other people who do.
I think part of it is learning to operate outside of your comfort zone. Because if you watch brain patterns, when there's nuance, your brain is like you're all over the place trying to find a connection historically to
Right.
to know how to move forward. And what happens is, surprise on a human face is, or on any animal face is, it's the same. And it's the same for a reason, because you're opening your eyes wide to try and take in as much information as possible. I mean, that's something you can't fake.
The compartmentalization of information.
And the
That's all the
ramifications
deep
of all
state
the
is.
exaggerations, of the emancipation of all the, yeah, no.
Well, yeah, but no, that's
No, I agree.
when going back to, we were talking about Bob Lazar earlier. He was talking about the way the entire, like, Area 51 sections, blah blah blah, all them, they're very compartmentalized, not only in their literal area, but also in their knowledge that they're allowed to have from the other people and the scientists. And
it's not even actually called Area 51 either.
It's like Air Force Base. What's it called or something?
Yeah, it's another.
It's actually a
Another
multitude of tons and tons of places all put together.
But the opposite of compartmentalization is, in fact, permaculture.
You're right. Putting
It's
everything
the
together
freedom
for
of information
Yeah,
flow.
dude, I get that. It's a nice tie-in. That's a good job, buddy.
Well, it's the
I like
reality.
Yeah, but yeah. Well, because you understand that you need to have all of these things to coincide, and all of it needs to be aware. I mean, it doesn't have to truly be aware, but it should be allowed to know it exists in case it needs to. But
And that the environment that you're surrounded in is going to dictate how you move forward. That it's
Your best.
It's not going to just be like, I'm going to do this because this is what I want. It's like, no, I'm going to do this today because today this is what the soil is calling for. Today, in this environment that we're in, we need a plant that doesn't need a lot of light, that can soak up water, whatever it is for that particular area, that time of year.
Right.
Like you're saying, you work with your surroundings as opposed to.
If you're battling surroundings, which are Mother Nature, you'll be battling them till the day you die.
Why waste your energy?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that goes back to the whole fungal network thing, because if it truly, as we've talked about, is intertwined in the sense everything is literally talking to one another and it's aware of, oh, hey, in a day or two, it's going to be way more moist here because there's a storm coming through. So I need to let my soil, dry out a little bit more or something.
Right.
And they would be able to communicate enough to know that was coming. Or, hey, we need to pull up extra nutrients. So, hey, eat extra today. We'll store a little extra fat.
Right.
And then when the sun's not shining, we'll have, enough energy to store over for. So, yeah,
my idea of the perfect farm, if you will, is you get up in the morning, you go turn on all your machines, right? Which means like let the chickens out the coop.
Yeah, right.
Move the cows over to a different pasture. Feed your fish.
Yeah.
And then go have the afternoon to chill out.
Yeah, right.
Because everything's doing the work for you.
Yeah.
You're just a supervisor.
Pretty much, yeah, in a properly functioning system. Because, I've been doing a lot of research into, because aquaponics got me.
It's a beautiful setup, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've always been into the idea of proper farming where it's like nature does it this way. Why is it we do it the way we do it? Like it doesn't, we're still using this archaic method of plow and sowing where we just like tearing up the soil, putting all this extra carbon in the air, and then we're throwing all these pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, like all these gnarly things to grow genetically modified stuff that shouldn't have had to be modified, but because of all the pesticides and herbicides, it's just
it's a vicious circle.
Yeah, and I don't that nature has never had to do that. You look at any indigenous population that knew how to do hunter-gatherer as well as then starting to get into actual cultivation where they would grow from the land. They knew how to cycle. Like they did it naturally. Like it was just, I don't know how they knew that, but that's what they did. And it's like, so we're aware that this can work. Why don't, and it's bountiful and plenty. Why not just do that?
Right. There are so many more foods on this planet than North Americans are even capable of understanding.
Oh, you want more
There's
of this?
just berries.
I don't know, moss.
All these types of plants that we just don't know exist.
Oh, tell me about it.
Because we're such a monocrop culture.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
In the 80s, how many types of apples did we have? Like green and red.
Yeah, right. It was like
now we got
Granny
a few
Smith
different-
and like
right.
Red Crisp, and I was like, that was it. It was like, yeah, red and green. And now all of a sudden, yeah, you're getting to like Pink Ladies, Fiji's. We got broccoli flower. It's not broccoli. It's not cauliflower. It's broccoli.
It's the 8th iteration. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, so that's the thing. It's like a weeping plant, like the weeping willow, the tree. Dude, that was genetically modified by humans. Like we made it do that by
Sad soul.
Yeah, well, by like genetic, selection and stuff, we bred it into it where it naturally wants to. And you can even see now, like there's some that will start to regress back to its original and grow completely vertical. And you just have to cut that part of the tree off and hope it doesn't grow back.
Broccoli didn't exist in nature.
I don't doubt that.
brassica.
That's man-made.
It's brassica derivative. So kale, broccoli, cabbage, asparagus, perhaps.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it's
I don't
like
know.
in the same fam, but it was some kind of crossbreed, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I was just out in the state park last week. Foraging is illegal, which I find fascinating.
You might find mushrooms.
I've never found a wild mushroom that was edible in my life, but I have found many edible vegetable plants, if you will. So we found some Queen Anne's lace, which is like wild carrot kind of.
Okay.
And then a couple other things. I forget the names of them offhand, but it's real early in the spring and we were in some real nice sediment just next to the creek land. And they were just nice and young and delicious.
Like you could make a soup out of what's around you.
I would make a salad if it's that fresh.
salad?
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. But that's what I'm saying is like nature can do this already naturally. Like this is why I started getting into the whole idea of some sort of sustainable growing where you had an ecosystem, because I knew that there had to be an ebb and flow. There had to be a give and a receive. There had to be a balance. I mean, life has showed me that everything's built on a balance of these things. So it's like, it felt natural to me. But then I got further into it because it's like, all right, well, you can't just have a bunch of like fish tanks hanging out and a bunch of grow beds. Like you can't just do an entire farm like that. You're wasting the physical land.
Well, so here, check this out. In my green proposal, you catch the rain, you catch the wind, you catch the sun, you catch the carbon. Using vertical hydroponic farming, I'm able to use the local rain, nettle perhaps as a fertilizer, or I could use fish. The sun and the wind power the system and generate far more power than an aquaponic system needs. So
by far.
So then you're able to produce power for the local community.
You have a hydraulic system.
Oh, dude, you can run
wind-powered hydraulics.
Well, you can run
There's multiple earth batteries, right? Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah,
Store,
anything
store the water high when the power is produced, and when there's no power being produced by wind or sun, the water drains down into hydropower.
Yeah, it's like small hydroelectric. Because again, like for systems like this,
up and forth and
or
back.
even living near a moving body of water, like a riverbed or something.
honestly,
like that.
that's one of the most ideal.
Spiral. You can use water turbines out there. You just need a different gradient.
Oh, as it goes through a funnel,
Right.
turns a turbine.
And those are, I think, 15, 30, and
the
45
Coriolis effect.
kilowatt per hour.
Well, so I think
production.
with the idea of the permaculture, especially with coming away from desertification where you're trying to revitalize the land and all that stuff, in doing that, you wind up getting a flow of water that will generate some sort of a spring, typically a creek. Well, if you're generating through your land design to do that, you can then also harness that flow of water as it comes out and make a small amount of electricity from it too. I mean, you really can make these simple, self-sustaining, because we don't need as much as we do if we're smarter about it, and we could use a lot more things, more intelligently. And we wouldn't have to consume as much, and we could still have all the amenities that we're used to. Like we could still have a healthy, if not healthier life to live with more cool stuff to do, because we'd have freaking time to do it.
Well, when you revitalize a community, you take like a dilapidated community and you revitalize it in a way that benefits the citizens and the ecosystem, you're going to get the most vibrant life out of that community. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. And then that's going to spring forward somewhere else. And then that's somewhere else. It's not until you put limits on these communities, say redlining might be a limit, that's when things fall apart. But when people are left to their own devices, doing things that they are interested in that benefit everybody, it just continues to benefit everybody. It's not until you put limits on these.
People don't tend to want to cheat a system that they enjoy.
Why would they?
Yeah.
Right.
What's the gain for me to cheat a system that I enjoy, And of course it's self-correcting too, because people want to be in a system that they can trust each other. So the minute somebody gets weeded out immediately.
And that's what used to happen in the past. Is if there was like a thief in the group, they would get tossed. Some of them got thrown over cliffs.
What were we saying that about community versus
community versus commune. Yeah, because then you're talking about a coexistence of like 20 or 30 people in comparison to like 500, 600, 1,000 or
right. The harsh reality though is if you do something that's morally objectionable by most people within that town space or whatever you call it, that collection of people, that there will be a hanging, there will be a stoning, there will be something when it gets beyond a point that people are willing to accept as a group. Right.
Thomas Jefferson
or
said,
just get out,
Yeah, I would say,
the tree of liberty needs to be refreshed with the blood of
patriots
and tyrants.
Yeah.
So while that is unfortunately true, I don't think that he necessarily means, and he said like if it goes 30 years, that's too long. I think what he means is that
he didn't think it would last. None of them thought it would last over 100 years.
Well, I also don't think that he means that we need to go to war to create change. What I think he means is we need to
be willing to sacrifice.
Be willing to sacrifice our time.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to sacrifice our lives for change. That shouldn't be a necessity. It is, but it should not be one.
I can agree to that.
I mean, we shouldn't need martyrs to change our opinion of things.
Right. I know. Yeah.
It always, well, to me, it always seemed like with a quote like that, it's kind of hard to see it any other way. That, I mean, it requires, I would say sacrifice is everybody's not going to have the extreme of this is a life and death decision.
Sure. And
the average person won't.
No person that we consider evil considered themselves evil. Like Hitler thought he was doing Germany a favor.
Well, and
he thought he was helping out.
Yeah, no, I know that this is a really, really sensitive subject. Even now,
but that's.
But there's no other way to look at it than Hitler's a piece of shit.
Germany was financially in a hole,
right?
And
massively.
There were improvements during his reign.
That's what I'm saying. So economically, so there was they had less thievery, but I mean, of course, you're also talking about a corrupt reporting system, most likely. But so
I would say Volkswagen was a positive thing to come out of that.
It is nowadays. You kidding me? Dude, I've had a couple V-dubs. It's all good. They're cool.
I mean, a lot of our science has come out of World War II technologies.
Yeah, right. So I mean,
how much do you think was reverse engineered alien technology?
Well, I mean, like I said before on the other show, there's different methods of getting a similar result. So Wilhelm Reich believes in like this orgone energy. Victor Schauberger believed that you could use circular or spiral effect to do anti-gravitational. Other people, the Germans, they thought that you could use liquid. It's a metal liquid mercury. Use mercury in a gyroscope, and that would create a magnetic field that would basically break the gravity and pull you along.
Well, see, that was another thing about.
Wasn't there some guy in like the 1800s that did this on like a very small scale and was able to create like an anti-gravity device that he stood on and had someone take a picture of him? I swear there was something like this.
Maybe that's the Mandela effect.
No, I swear that.
Well, there's more going on than we're told, no matter how we slice.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree.
I mean, you watch the news, you're going to get. I love when they post these videos of like this 25 newscasters saying the exact same thing.
Yeah, I know, right?
Verbatim,
It's got a different tagline on the bottom and like a different
this
number.
Is all I have left is the braggot. But yeah, help yourself. Just be careful because there may still be yeast on the bottom.
Sediment.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gross.
What?
Yeah,
natural, man.
I don't want pulp in my orange juice.
Oh, I also.
Oh, I love pulp, man. I could care less. I don't mind having a little bit to chew on. It's like Prego. It's in there.
That's true. I actually strain my fresh squeezed orange juice because I'm a sucker.
I don't know, man.
Did you?
Yes, please pour me some. Would you? Yes, have some. Yes, have some.
So I think that once we have the availability of abundance of energy and food, we already waste 40% of our food. That's ridiculous. But then we can start to give the power back to the community. I mean, there should be a shared investment, right? Like,
that's where you get into like the co-ops and grow-ops and all that kind of stuff, like community gardens and.
But the buy-in should be little and the payback should be great.
Well, the buy-in could just be your time.
That's totally
You said
accurate.
You're required. It's like tithing. You're required to give 10% of your effort.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So if it's financial or if it's just physical presence,
Right.
yeah, right. You're like, hey, I don't have the time to do this because
you say,
of
well, how can
whatever,
you
but-
possibly provide, internet for free? Well, it's because people are willing to sacrifice a certain amount of their own time to see that happens.
Or taxpayers. I mean,
But I mean, how do you, still going back to the same point though, how do you do that without involving the government?
well,
Like
we are the
it-
government. I mean, we're involved. We are the government. You can't not
Right.
involve me. I'm involved.
See, I think that's
I'm the government.
That's to
I'm
me,
a
that's
voter.
the biggest point that I think a lot of people miss on that kind of stuff is like, yeah, it's like, you know what? We do have a say in this. And I think the biggest issue of anything of all of what we're doing really is none of us aren't disagreeing on the fact that we all want to have a better chance at life. It's how we get there and what's best for me or you.
Absolutely.
Because like everything's going to be different.
Well, and who wants to assume the responsibility? Because literally any person can run for office,
Yeah, right.
right? Like we behave as though AOC is the only person that can be in that position, or whoever. And literally, you can just go and get enough signatures and put yourself on the ballot.
Yeah.
No one does it. If I moved back here, I would probably run for office.
Well, and I think that's all right. So I mean,
I would.
I don't know.
Hold me to it.
I don't know. I again, like, all right. So going back to, because I think the one thing you said is the biggest issue with, economics, I think continues into that too, is just it's humanity in a sense. And it's not even like humanity as us as a collective, because I think an individual given the right opportunity is always going to do what's logical or rational. It's when we start to involve all of us, which basically becomes, humanity as a sense. That's when we get into that gray area again, because, what's good for you is not always good for me.
Well, they made a movie about that. Trading Places. So
Mortimer
if you
bets
put
him a
people
dollar.
through hell, they're gonna know hell.
Well, isn't that what like all of the greats back in the day would like talk about? And I mean, I'm talking like Renaissance period and further, like all of the great writers, the single greatest artistic expression meant that there had to be suffering.
But there will always be suffering because everybody holds on to everything. Only in Eastern culture does suffering lessen.
Well, yeah,
Well, that they even realize that that's a focus. I mean, that
That by wanting things you suffer.
right.
Right.
well, yeah, because
Attachment, yeah.
Well, yeah, but then you get into like Buddhism where it's like let go of everything. So
Well, that's
I mean,
what it is. Attachment is suffering. So let
Yeah.
go of everything.
Yeah.
Including yourself, most especially including yourself.
Well, see, and I think that's where you start getting
Now
into
do that and have a family.
Yeah. How do you, but they do. They do. I mean, because
But I think that goes towards like the Nikola Tesla and the lucid dreaming and all that kind of stuff, because in order to because I mean, honestly, to make the leaps and bounds that we did scientifically, we had to let go of the constraints that were our construct. Like we had to let go of
Albert Einstein was very counterculture. Like the stuff he was pushing, that was against the grain.
Yeah, didn't we also, somebody was saying something like he might have like even possibly been like Asperger's or something to that degree. Like
I would totally agree with that.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Asperger's, it almost to me just makes it so you see through the bullshit.
right? Well,
What's that mean on the spectrum? Like we don't even know what, if for all we know, that could actually be a more perfect human being.
Thing, right.
It could be genetically superior.
Well, right. Well,
given
'cause-
the right circumstance. So who's to say what the perfect human being is? How could you ever breed one?
Right.
The perfect human being
That's
one day
why-
could be somebody with severe Asperger's.
I believe the perfect human being is a vampirical zombie creature.
it's just,
well, how do you define perfect?
well,
I can never die.
Right. Well, but
Right.
this also goes into the Darwinian aspects of like, what
Right.
are your constraints? Because what's best now doesn't mean that's going to be what's best 100 or 200 or 400 years or 1,000 years or 10,000 years from now. So, I mean, evolutionary wise, we have to modify just to be able to live within our constraints.
Yeah, but I mean, is there something about the human spirit though, too? Like, given the opportunity, like, if somebody gives you this is a good question. Like, if somebody gives you the opportunity, would you want to live forever? So like, I can make you a vampire tonight. Would you want to live forever? Knowing that everyone you know right now is going to eventually die and you'll still be here. Would it be worth, is that a trade-off for you you're willing to make? And that you'd lose a part of your humanity because you wouldn't be connected to the clock.
Right.
Like everyone else is. Would you give that up? And would you give that up
Any sane person should say no.
knowing it's punishing other human beings?
Any sane person should say no.
But what's the truth?
So, but
Given the opportunity,
I do it.
that's what I'm saying. You do it, even knowing that it brings harm on other human beings.
Why does it bring harm on other human beings? Oh, because I actually have to like kill them to do
You have
this?
to feed. So you're part of a lifestyle that requires the suffering of other human beings, whether you hunt out only the a-holes or not. It doesn't really, the wife abusers. Like, of course, that's probably where I'd be focused.
Dude, I would be one
Like
of those.
the kitty touchers and the wife abusers. I'd be going right after them first.
No, I mean, honestly, you make a great point. You know what?
Like Dexter of the vampire world.
I could be a rogue vigilante for a while, and then once all of the evil was gone, then I need to find an alternate source. We could develop some sort of like plasma alternative. It'd be like like Blood Light or some shit.
First, they came for the prostitutes. Blood light.
I'm just saying, it's like all the plasma but without the calories.
Oh my.
Blood light.
Well, because I mean that's like I don't, as a human, having consumed dead animal, like having I didn't actually kill that animal, but I may as well have, because in order for it to be here and for me to eat it, it had to die. So I had my hand in that in a sense. Being aware of that was, once I did eat meat for a while, like you have to be okay with that. Like, at least I do. So you have to come to terms with it.
You have to be okay with another animal died so that you could live.
Well, yeah, because I mean, like, I always put it back to the same thing with like Avatar and stuff. Because when you look at indigenous people, and what they did is they showed acceptance and appreciation, and they were so thankful and grateful, and it was a reverence, because it's like, hey, because of your life that you've given, I now sustain mine, and I'm so grateful for that. So thank you.
Right.
And there's an
that doesn't happen with
appreciation.
the average American when you go to McDonald's or Burger King.
But I mean, I would say a lot of people, not even
you
just
don't even
that.
know where that's coming from, and actually half of it is even beef. But
Some people believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows.
This is true. No, this is
I mean,
true.
my only point is,
not a joke.
And like, yes, I am vegetarian/vegan, but I don't necessarily have a problem with eating the flesh of another animal. But I think if you're going to eat meat on a regular basis, I think you should be willing to kill an animal to have it.
I agree with that 100%. And my philosophy,
I think you'd eat a lot less.
is I wish I didn't feel that I need to eat meat. I've been a vegan. I've been a vegetarian. I lost weight like crazy. As soon as I reintroduced dairy or meat into my diet, I stabilized. I don't believe that any single diet is beneficial for the the populace of the globe. I think that the Japanese approach meat eating in a very healthy manner. They eat meat. They also create the best beef in the world.
You're right, Kobe. We talk about it all the
portions
time.
Are smaller
Compared to
and more
America,
expensive.
the portions are much, much smaller, and they're more expensive because they actually treat the animals with a little bit of dignity.
Right. And the flavor comes through. But the animals, they live a happy life. I would imagine that there are fewer vegans in Japan based on PETA style policy. The reason
Right, but I mean, they eat what I would say considerably more healthy, because you're eating an abundance of everything, and a very small portion of that is animal protein. It's still there, but a very small portion of it. I mean, not to take fried rice as an example, but to make the assumption as an American that regular Chinese food is what they eat in China isn't exactly tit for tat. But
I mean, dude, depends on what restaurant you
point
go
being is
to.
a lot of grain like rice, a lot of vegetables, a lot of there's a very balanced, and you're not having a huge slab of beef and a potato and a little dinky salad. Like, it's all kind of worked in there, and it's very balanced.
I haven't had McDonald's in, I guess, about 8 years now. I was in the airport and I decided, you know what, I'm going to go get me a cheeseburger. Screw it. I'm starving. And the plain cheeseburger, the it was gluten-free. And I thought, how the hell do they make a gluten-free
What the
hamburger bun?
bun
it's
is
rice,
gluten-free?
I guess, but it just threw me off. I mean, I feel like the burger patties are practically meat-free at this point.
Oh yeah, I want to say like a
There's a
McDonald's
certain
patty's probably
percentage.
like mostly soy product or something, and
is a
like
lot of soy.
texturized vegetable protein or
Yeah, exactly.
it's
That's why we have a man boot problem in the U.S.
well, but that's why you get such a consistent flavor because they can control all the ingredients, so it always comes out the same. They do that for their pickles, their cheese, their buns. That's why technically every McDonald's you ever go to, they're all supposed to say like taste identical.
Can I have the pickles?
And the pickles. The pickles.
I do love Taco Bell, unfortunately.
You know what? I'm from Cali, right? I'm a Del Taco kid.
See, I'm from Cali too, and
I love me Del Taco and Carl's Jr.
give me real
El Pollo Loco.
Mexican food first.
Well, yeah, but if you're like fast food in it, like
Right, second.
yeah, Del Taco for the quesadillas, El Pollo Loco for the
perfected
chicken.
in Germany my Taco Bell menu. I can make anything that you want from Taco Bell.
I want an example. What is it? give,
I mean, first, the beef, the ground beef. I can make the Taco Bell ground beef. I can make the
Oh, right,
hot
right,
sauce.
right. Like you got okay.
Mild.
Okay. Yeah, I have a cookbook where it has 100 or 300 something, secret recipes and stuff. Yeah, they're most of them are pretty spot on. It's pretty dope.
But
They like reverse engineer how to make stuff.
I'd like to open a restaurant in Germany, like a food shack though, little to-go joint.
Almost like a taco truck that doesn't move.
Yes, a food truck that doesn't move would be.
Okay.
And over there, it's called an imbiss. IMBISS.
Does that stand for something, or is that like
Imbecile. No, it doesn't stand for anything. It means like a food shack.
okay?
You do
That's the German word. That
like,
I don't know if it's German, but that's the word they use.
Oh, okay.
Sell Philly cheesesteaks in Germany. You know what I'm saying?
So, I'm talking about opening up a Philly John, right?
Philly pretzels,
Philly John.
cheesesteaks. Yeah, John.
Yeah, Philly John.
Dude, that would be like
In Berlin.
Is that
Cinnabons
J-A-U-N?
and
What?
freaking
JWN?
Yes, sir.
Okay, JW.
Good golly.
yeah. Wait.
No,
what?
I said UN, but I don't.
What? No.
There are different. What?
What? I will.
That's Philly Juan.
Why are you saying what way? Yeah, no, dude, John, man. JW. What?
So
Not
that's what I mean.
Juan.
Like I do clothes, and people they do need to wear clothes, but you don't need to buy.
So I've heard.
You
I've
don't
been
need
told.
to buy a sweatshirt every day, right?
Well, yeah. I mean,
But you do need to eat every day,
Right.
and you also do need to put that sweatshirt on every day if it's cold out. But
Yeah.
walk your dope doggo.
or cover up your boobies.
You don't have to have a sweatshirt for every day.
Yeah, you do. It can be the
I
same
do.
one.
It could be the same one. That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
You
I
don't
got-
have
dude,
to have
yeah, I got a couple of these
different
Johns.
sweatshirts for every day.
I mean, what if I had sweatshirt money though? Why can't I ball like that?
You're wearing a sweatshirt now, and I'm sure you have money in your pocket.
So maybe we need to design a sweatshirt
Actually, my money's in my other pants.
that looks one way on the outside and another way on the inside, so that you could wear it multiple
So-
times.
Reverse it.
I go front
this is
seats,
my
back
pop-
seats,
yeah.
inside out seats, front seat, back seats.
This is my paparazzi collar.
All I see is like white chicks having one on and being like, daytime,
That way.
nighttime.
That way,
Daytime,
if you're running from paparazzi or something, you can just slip down an alley and flip your sweatshirt inside out and then just walk out.
Dude, that would be some snake
You were
eyes.
looking for somebody with a black sweatshirt and you come out wearing blue.
Yeah, right.
It's like navy blue.
That's what I'm saying.
There I go again. It's like navy blue, but you only dye the bottom. So it's like navy blue and
He's got anti-paparazzi clothes on, right? Dude, this is how popular this guy is.
can't
He's
get an image of
I'm
my face. Yeah.
I just heard about those.
And then we got real pop stars out here showing their body parts and stuff. This is horrible.
That's funny.
Getting out of their cars.
That way
with
anybody
their-
takes a picture of you, it's like Bigfoot. It's like, no, it isn't. That's not him.
Right. Or it just looks like your head is not attached. Detachable head. Sorry.
It's like a floating head. Like, no, you superimpose that.
What was the movie where Robin Williams was the floating head? Was that The Adventures of Baron von Munchausen?
I think so.
God.
So that studio that filmed that movie, at least the original,
Right.
that's the studio I was working in Germany.
Doing
The
what?
Adventures of Baron von Munchausen
Like working on that
Studios.
movie or like
No, God, no, I wish. I was working
Is that
for
how they still advertise it? Like
Esports Global Network. The most miserable camera operation job I've ever had in my life. I'd rather document grass growing.
No, you said
That's not
something
what you
way
said
worse.
last
I know
time,
that,
yeah.
right? You said something way worse. Which, honestly, yeah, that's kind of funny.
Yeah. Something hardcore of the.
Oh, yeah, no, of the very, very hardcore sexual nature.
Right. I did an art porn edit for Art Porn Week Berlin in 2000.
Yeah, but see, over in like Europe and stuff, there's a totally different look. I mean, there's some countries that even allow like open sex to happen like right in the middle of any, like there's certain areas where it's just like, okay.
Well, that's Berlin.
There you go.
The park near me has like a blowjob corner. And that's the only wild park there really
what was
is.
the
in
safe
Berlin.
word? What was the safe word?
My Oklahoma.
No, what was this? No.
Oh,
no,
like Lugen, Hagen, Flagen, Slagen, Hagelstonen. What, did you say Lugen, Flagen, Hagen, Slagen? Yes, I did. Yeah, it is. Oh my God.
Sorry, Euro trip.
Yep.
Oh, but yeah, and that's, I mean, there's other countries where they also, I think Portugal has like open drug use parks and stuff like that. So, I mean, like,
You guys are hearing nonsense. So I was in Portugal after grass and everything was legalized, and there's still dealers on the street.
of course.
I still felt a little weird smoking a doobie out on the street. I feel less weird here, and I am a card-carrying member
Well, but
of the Turtle Club.
turtle. But the context of where you're at and what you're doing, I mean, because, I mean, yeah, if you go to like Colorado, it's a whole nother country over there.
They were trying to put out sniff guns.
Oh,
for the
you know
police.
what? But in Colorado, don't get caught with a cigarette.
And don't catch
Right.
the rain.
Like
And don't
people
catch the
people
rain.
are more likely to give you a dirty look for smoking a cigarette than just walking outside their house and smoking a joint.
Or even, yeah, or the
They just be like, "Oh, thanks for going outside." But if they see you with a
Right.
cigarette, and it's like,
How dare you smoke that,
let
dude?
me tell you how many people walking their dogs were like, "Just give me the evil eye" when I went to visit.
Well, yeah, but like over in Europe, like you're just like,
Like
smoking
Denver.
cigarettes as you walk into places. Like, who gives a shit?
I won't go to a bar where I can't smoke a joint inside.
There you go. Like, is that anywhere in the world, or is this just like?
No, because you can't even smoke a cigarette in a bar here. So
I mean,
That's not true. There
There
are
are very
still
few.
some, yeah, because it depended on like their
food law.
The food
It was
law.
Yeah, the
like
food
eating,
law.
Right? It was like if you had a hot dog. you
Well,
were
and
okay.
also what? Well, no, it was the percentage. It was the percentage of sales on foods
Yeah,
to
yeah.
alcohol, but it was also depending on what license you had and a few other things.
So if you
But
have a
yeah.
shitty menu, then you
I
can go
love
ahead
the
and smoke.
cabaret license. If you don't have a cabaret license, no one's allowed to dance. No one can
dancing is
dance.
illegal.
Dancing. So I was doing for the undead,
Without a license, apparently.
I was doing for the Undead Dog Foundation. I did a bar night called Dogs Dance 2. And we had a DJ play,
Electric Boogaloo,
not strictly. Barkadoo.
Not
Bark-
disallowed.
But because the place didn't have a cabaret license in town, in city, we weren't allowed to dance and we couldn't, and it got shut down.
dude. This is some Footloose stuff.
And it's
Dude, like,
ridiculous.
Dude, we're gonna play some banging music. All we ask is that you do not dance because we'll get shut down.
What kind of
That
law is
you-
that?
you-
That is
no.
footloosey.
That's where you just pack them all in, so there's no room to dance.
Right.
Like people just jump up and down. Does
That's
that
what dancing
count?
is like in Berlin, though.
So when you have like
I was-
silent
I was
discos,
with an American friend of
Or
mine,
pogo.
and he's doing great work, but not about him. We had been dancing for about 16 hours, right? We had some coffee. And
Coca.
coffee,
Colombian coffee.
the purest Colombian coffee you
he's
could
like
ever.
this. Now, mind you, listener, I am mildly gyrating.
Yeah, a
And
slow.
he's like, look at me, I'm still dancing. He had been previously dancing like this.
arm
this is him
pumping
now.
house music to just barely holding your fist up.
still dancing. I took a nap.
You have to
That's
really
the thing
focus
about-
to see if he's actually moving.
Yeah. You go, like, if you fall asleep in an American bar, they're going to kick you right out.
Oh yeah.
You fall asleep in a German bar, they're like, does he need chips?
A word?
Yeah.
You're saying people come by and they'll like scribble messages and like stick them in your hand.
It might happen. Yeah, seriously. Like, you can do.
I like your
it's
hat.
just a freer place. Berlin's especially. I mean, I would call it the capital of Europe in its
Berlin.
Well, yeah, 'cause you were saying
availability. I'm not saying it's the best place. I'm saying it's the best city.
Yeah, you were saying earlier where it seems to be like almost like the general sense of a hub because you're getting every sense of every other aspect. So you're getting all these other countries, or they're just somehow or another not so much staying there, but just flowing through it at least. So it seems
Well, it's also it is a very transient city. So yeah, they really do pass through. Like if you're talking to somebody that's lived there for more than 5 years, they're like a long haul, you know?
Yeah, they're like, this is a great city. I love this.
Yeah, but I mean, most of the people I know have come and gone.
Wow.
Which is funny. I mean,
well, that goes back to the vampire conversation. I mean, if that's what you're used to, if you're always changing every 5 years of what you got, then like,
then what's what?
Just,
I mean, it's just the way it is.
You just got to get past the whole like having to kill to survive thing.
Right. So I'm trying to write a screenplay that involves that type of story. Time travel, vampirical zombies,
Dude, this sounds
Run of the mill.
You're just your average rom-com with zombies and time travel.
It's all stuff we know that sells, but we got to find the nuance to it.
Just put all of it together.
I just need to write it, finish it.
Yeah, that's
did you?
Well, I mean, it's we're
wrapping
so
it
like,
up.
well, I mean, kind of. So I mean, I can drink more. I mean, I'll drink now. Oh, I don't. I'll just. See, you're the bad
I'm the only one that
influence.
has to leave soon, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I don't. I have nowhere to go. So
Obligatory obligations.
I'm just. He has to be a responsible parent.
I gotta be home around the time when my kids get off the bus.
Oh yeah.
Which I mean, so honestly,
I don't have
You don't
to.
have latchkey kids?
Well, that's the thing. I don't have to, but
How old are they, if I may ask?
10 and 7.
10 and 7.
old enough that they can cause trouble if he's not there.
I've been trying little by little to like kind of get them initiated in the idea of being able to come home and let themselves in and
Make them run the gauntlet.
And the funny thing,
And then they're men.
it's no, but we got the
Yeah, no, it's.
it's that time.
I know.
Well, I'd like to say thank you for having me.
I want to say thank you for the awesome conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, do we have a new brother? Is what happened
Right.
here today. This is
I
tree of
trimmed my
trust.
beard so that we at least looked different, the three of us,
Do no beard over there. So
Right.
no getting ideas,
Yeah,
lady.
so we got long, shortest beard, and
None.
no beard.
But yeah, this is I'm telling you. And if you want to reach out to us, ITY at directionsmusic.org. Yeah, GEMINI at directionsmusic.org for Gemini.
HILLYD at directionsmusic.org.
Yeah, and we always appreciate you coming in. We appreciate you stopping by. This has been
Oh,
great.
man, thanks for having me. Yeah. Really.
Yeah, this is Philly D.
Mr. Gemini.
Miss JD.
And Evan Dublion.
Yeah, and as always, family, be good to yourself, be good to everyone else.
Much love.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.